Hello, 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 Jen Turnham here, coming live to you today. And today's topic, before I introduce myself, I'll just let you know what you're in for. So today's topic is all about imposter syndrome. So what it is and is it ruling your life and what to do about it. But before I get started, one thing I did want to ask you is if you're watching this on the replay, please let me know where you're watching it from, as well as what the weather's like. And the reason I want to know what the weather is like is because it has been cold, rainy and stormy for, I think, 4 days now. So I'm a bit over it and I'm hoping for some sunshine to come back. So let me know if it's sunny where you're currently watching it from, and let me know using hashtag replay as well. And just before I get started on the topic of today, just a little bit about me for those who don't know me. So I'm Jen Turnham and I'm a mindset coach, and I am passionate about using my psychology degree to help women overcome any unhelpful thought processes, any mindset blocks, mindset challenges that are holding them back in life, in their business, in their relationships, whatever it might be. I'm the host of 2 free Facebook groups. I've got a new one called Biz Babes Breaking Free. So you can I don't think I've put the links in the post yet, so I'll do that when I've finished this video. Or you can search for hashtag Biz Babes Breaking Free. That's for pretty much what it says, business babes. So if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a mumpreneur, if you're running your own business, then we would love to have you join us in the group. And the other group that I run is called Empowered Empathetic Extroverts. And that's basically for women who are what's referred to in psychology as highly sensitive people, or HSPs, and they're extroverts, because that's a really unique combination, because the majority of HSPs are introverts. So I created a group for the minority, and that's highly sensitive extroverts. So we'd love to have you join us. Again, I'll share the link to that when I finish the video. I also wanted to draw your attention to a free guide I created, which is called Feel Fantastic in 3 Simple Steps. I'll also share the link to download that when I finish the video. So by the time you're watching this, the links should be in the post attached to the video. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this week's topic. It's all about imposter syndrome. So what is it? So imposter syndrome is a psychological term that refers to a pattern of behavior where people doubt their accomplishments, and they have this persistent, and it's often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. And this happens despite there being adequate external evidence to the contrary. And imposter syndrome is usually, it's to do with circumstances. So there could be only certain circumstances in which you feel like an imposter, and the rest of the time you might be fine. So for example, you could be really confident presenting to a group of people who are less experienced than you or more junior than you. But if you're presenting to a group of your peers, that could actually cause imposter syndrome to raise its ugly head. Or it could be you're trying something new or a little bit different in your life, in your career, that could cause it to perhaps raise its ugly head. An example that I suppose I can relate to is I've done a lot of public speaking in my life, and I recently joined a public speaking group. Now, when I get up to run a workshop or facilitate a training program, or in the past I've spoken to an audience of hundreds of people, I'm totally okay. But when I get up to give a speech to a group of people who are learning how to be public speakers, so in other words, they're learning the techniques and they're learning the proper way to do it, all of a sudden I start doubting my own abilities as a public speaker, even though I've done it pretty much my whole life. So that's an example from my life where imposter syndrome could pop up. Now, one thing I really want to highlight here, the real kicker about imposter syndrome is that people who, so for example, when you experience imposter syndrome, you might look at other people and kind of go, oh, you kind of almost envy them and you're frustrated because they don't seem to have the same issue. They don't seem to have this imposter syndrome as being a problem for them or a challenge for them. And the thing I really want to hammer home, the real kicker here, is that people who don't feel like imposters, so for people who don't have imposter syndrome as an issue, they are not any more intelligent or any more capable than you are. The only difference, and this is really important, the only difference between them and you is that when a situation triggers an imposter feeling for you, they think different thoughts. That's it. Seriously, that is the only difference between people who experience feelings of being an imposter and people who don't. Only difference is they think different thoughts, the people who don't have that as being an issue. So this is really good news, I would suggest, because it suggests that there's a simple solution, and there is. All you have to do is if you change your thoughts and you learn to think like a non-imposter, it's no longer an issue. And the reason for that is because at a brain level, what happens is our thoughts cause our feelings, because the type of thoughts that we have generate a chemical reaction in our brain. So different types of thoughts generate different types of feelings. So therefore, if you deal with your thoughts first, then your feelings of being an imposter will follow. So get rid of the unhelpful thoughts and the feelings of being an imposter will go away as well. So now you know what it is, why it happens, what can you do about it? So I've got 3 simple tips as to what you can do instead when you feel like imposter syndrome is playing a part. So tip number 1 is you need to find a new script. And what I mean by that is think different thoughts. So find a new set of thoughts that you can think as opposed to the thoughts that are driving the feelings of being an imposter. So for example, in my public speaking example, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, these people are going to know if I do something wrong, they're going to know when I'm not being technically correct, I could change my thoughts to being something like, we're all in this together. We're all here to improve our public speaking. It's not about them judging me. We're all in this together. And those thoughts are going to generate different feelings, which are then going to eliminate that feeling of being an imposter. The second tip is visualize success. So in my example, if I'm about to give a presentation or a speech to the group of public speakers, then before I give the speech, I would visualize myself delivering a really successful talk. And the third thing is reward yourself. So learn to pat yourself on the back when you are doing a good job. Learn to pat yourself on the back when you've experienced the imposter feeling come up and you've still acted and you've still followed through and you've overcome it. So learn to focus on that internal validation, because remember I said in the very beginning, the definition of imposter syndrome is that you feel it despite having all this external evidence to the contrary. So get better at validating yourself internally. So just those 3 tips again: get a new script, so think different thoughts, visualize success, and reward yourself. That's pretty much it for today. I'm mindful of the time. As I said, my goal is to keep all of these under 10 minutes. So it's easy for people to just jump in, find 10 minutes, watch the video, and then go about your daily business, because I know we're all busy people. So as I mentioned before, please join the group Biz Babes Breaking Free or Empowered Empathetic Extroverts, and we will continue the discussion about imposter syndrome in those groups. Have a great week, everybody. See you soon.